Good evening. I'm calling to order the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. This is April 3rd, 2023. It is 5:30 p.m. Ms. Rakowski, will you call roll, please?
Mayor Lake,
Here.
Vice Mayor Hart,
Here.
Councilman Bobby Brown,
Here.
Councilman Tony Brown,
Here.
Councilwoman Thompson. Here. You have a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any public comment cards?
I have none at this time.
All right, we'll go to the agenda. And what we have on the agenda this evening is the CRA facade grant review. And I see we have Heritage members here. Are both of you presenting one? Both of you? Ms. Deidre, are you presenting? She's pointing to you, so.
That's me.
Okay, would you like to come to the podium then? How are you?
I'm doing well. Good evening, council members and mayor. I'm Deirdre Murphy. I am co-chair of the Keystone Heights Heritage Commission, and tonight we are going to review the facade grants. This afternoon we just had a meeting, so I was able to meet with all the members of the Heritage Commission and discuss each one of the applications. How do you want me to proceed with this? Do you have a special order or?
No, I like the A through I order that we're in.
Okay.
Let me ask Ms. Rakowski. She's making a recommendation to the CRA, to the agency. At the end of it, can we move the entire agenda as one vote, or do we have to independently? I'm sorry, I didn't hear him.
You can do one.
You can do one, and then discuss it and vote on it? Okay. Then that's how we will proceed. So the first one up is the locker room.
The locker room is at 156 South Lawrence Boulevard in Keystone Heights, and Miss Elise Moore is the owner of that property. The locker room had planned on doing some painting, stucco, some trim work, and if you had an opportunity to review the binders that were put together for each application, they're quite extensive, but the only piece that the Heritage Commission is dealing with is the aesthetics, if you will, and the design review, which in this case, there's really no design review. It's more, does the paint colors coincide with the symmetry of the community? And so she wants to also trim out the windows, and it is the Heritage Commission's recommendation that we approve everything that she wants to do. Just so that you all have knowledge, which I'm sure you've gone through as well, she wants to basically paint the same color palette as what's there now. So the green and on the exterior, and then the trim work is going to be in that cream, soft cream color. So we are suggesting that the council approve that, or at least the Heritage Commission has approved the choices that were made.
Okay, bring it back to council. Any questions of Chair Murphy?
Just an observation, she has repaired cracks in sidewalk. Would that be something that she would be responsible for, or would we? As the city
That
council?
would be up to the council, I suspect,
okay.
and it's really not our judgment call
Okay.
on Heritage. It's more, do the paints align, and do you want to do like something with the awning or that kind of thing? There's so much more in their packet with
Right.
regards to insurance and all of these other things that really don't fall into our area.
With all of these, we were provided with a Dropbox account, so we actually saw these. So we've seen them before.
Okay. When I was given everything by Christina, everything came over, of course, in an email, and the photos, you know, on your computer, the color palette looks very different. And so I went down to Ace Hardware and picked up samples of the paint palette samples and then matched them up with the colors.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're suggesting is very...
And just for the record, Benjamin Moore, the historic collection was one of the things that were in the design guidelines. Is that
Right.
correct? Okay.
And Sherman-Williams has their own
They do.
historic colors as well, and pretty much with regards to the Heritage Commission, we're good with pretty much anything that stays in the realm of any heritage colors.
Right.
So with that said, I felt like it's a color that we had approved in the past.
Excellent. Any other questions for Ms. Murphy?
I just want a clarification. Last month, we put Mrs. Moore on the Heritage Commission. Is she no longer on the Heritage Commission?
That is,
I believe.
I'm
no,
confused about it,
I
to
believe
be
in
honest.
discussing this with council, that she is not on the commission at this point, that she has tendered her resignation, and she will not be, she did not participate in this proceeding
She
today.
did not.
And she may have been in the room, but she was not a member of the commission. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
All right, thank you.
And she did step down. I believe she was appointed and then stepped down in fear that there would be a conflict of interest. I'm not sure how.
I'd like to clarify on that point from what she said today at the meeting. She did attend the meeting today in the audience as an observer. She stated that she was called and told that she would need to resign from the commission.
Okay. So,
But my understanding that she was supposedly taking Nina's seat, which was ending at the end of April anyway, and then she would have to reapply. So that's where I think it got a little convoluted.
okay.
And
She has an opportunity in May to be reappointed if she so chooses.
Well, the
Is
issue
that-
is that it's on the agenda for this evening. This evening.
So appointments for any council, committee, and the authority, those appointments are made in April so that we can do the transition and they will take their seat in May by the council. And that's how it's been advertised in the paper and on the board and on our website. And so, yes, she was appointed to take the remainder of Ms. Nina's seat, who had to resign. And then we would have to open it up again for her seat when her term ended, which would be for reappointment and taken onto the board in May.
So the bottom line is, as of 10 o'clock this morning, when you all met, she was not a member of the commission. Is that accurate?
So she would have been a member of the commission through the month of April, and then whoever was appointed, if it would have been herself or anybody else, would take their position in May for their.
So we can make that decision this evening and still be okay.
but she was not a commissioner. She was
Right.
not on the
Right.
commission
So
today.
once the conversation that she was going to put in an application to receive city funds, she can no longer be on that board. You cannot appoint funds to a member of one of your standing committees, commissions, authorities.
But as a member of a public body, if she was a commissioner as of 10 o'clock this morning, she had a duty to vote. I think what you're saying is, as of 10 o'clock this morning, she was not
She was not.
a commissioner.
That's
Is
correct.
that accurate, counsel?
That's correct.
Well, I don't think, for me personally, that's the issue. I think the issue is, and maybe the city attorney can speak to this, is whether or not she needed to resign, or whether or not there was something to allow her a waiver that if she signed, she could abstain from voting or from observing or giving input onto the applications.
Yes, she needed to resign. Florida Statute Chapter 112 is the public entities which characterizes any self-dealing, meaning your agency can't do business with itself. So because of that, you can't waive Florida
But
statute.
we don't have a historic district.
That-
So it's simply advisory of what they're coming to the Heritage Commission. It's just advisory. So we're not actually approving anything on the Heritage Commission.
I understand. That's not what the criteria is under the statute.
Your question is, was there an alternate way of skinning the cat? Yes, there
Yes.
was. Both approaches were perfectly fine. And the approach that was recommended by the city attorney, and I agree with his conclusion, was appropriate. And it does not appear that as of 10 o'clock this morning, she was a commissioner, so I don't see that there's a problem.
Well, I guess
I agree.
now that filling the seat this evening, my only point is, why would she reapply if she'd already been told she needed to resign? So, and she's being penalized as a business owner.
She hasn't reapplied. There's a Karen Nagel who has applied.
But if she was told to resign because of the conflict, why then when she reapplied, when she was told to resign because there's a conflict?
She could reapply later after this particular issue was completed.
Well, I can't speak for her, but my understanding is that that wasn't related, that
Yeah.
wasn't her understanding.
Yeah.
So that's all. It's nothing, to me, it's not personal, it's not about who it is or whatnot. It's about the information being available and being communicated in an effective way. Because I personally, as a member of the Heritage Commission, didn't know any of this until we sat down for the meeting this morning. So that to me is the bigger issue. Because there are associate members as well who might have wanted to apply also. That's my only point. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from council of Ms. Murphy regarding the locker room? Seeing no further discussion, is there a motion for the locker room?
I move that we approve the application.
Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Can we move to Hatch Realty, please?
Hatch Realty, they are wanting to, Hatch Realty is the Pangborn House. It's also a historic property in downtown. And they are wanting to do some painting, repair cracks to the stucco, repair the trim work, fencing around the AC unit and the lattice foundation, and then preparation and painting and so forth that just comes with doing any kind of painting, so that would include dry rot, that kind of stuff. And extend the painting onto the lattice and enclose the AC unit vents to make it look a lot nicer. Their color palette choice was similar to what they have now in the way of the doors being a kind of a burgundy red. It is this historic color. And
I was really hoping for Santa Red.
It's not historic. Believe it or not.
so it is in the historic palette wheel.
Yeah, it's
There you
pretty.
go. Okay. And then right now the property is kind of a green color, and they're wanting to do it a soft gray, which is of course very Williamsburg-esque, and in the historic wheel. It will not be dark gray, it will be more of a light gray. And the Heritage Commission met with Ms. Hatch and reviewed a lot of the questions that, that we just happened to ask her directly
Okay.
about what she was doing. And so the Heritage Commission approves that application.
Excellent. Any questions for Ms. Murphy of council?
Just an observation, it's clear that they're meeting the design guidelines, which we have adopted based on the federal standards. They're not making any structural changes that would change the nature, they're just doing general repairs.
Right. So the locker room, the last time we did it, when we did design review, they actually built the balcony and did all that, which really changed the facade.
Yeah.
And that was all approved, and so now we're just really approving paint colors.
Right.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Owens Law Firm, are we going to can we take these in a block since they're one building? Okay.
Actually, there's two buildings. So you have from the barber shop to Clyde's is one set, and then they're across the street on Nightingale, there is a separate building.
Okay.
But it's the same owner. So Karen Nelson is the owner of these two properties, and then the last one would be the Village Doctors.
Okay, so in the Owens Healthy Living Nutrition Retreat, Hometown Health and Wellness, and Clyde's, that is one block?
And the Keystone Barbershop.
And the Keystone, I'm sorry, yes. Okay, so can you tell us what she wants to do with that particular building?
Well, there's quite a few things because there's different properties there. And what is really wonderful about this whole concept of going to the Heritage Commission first and then coming to the CRA Council is that it gives the owners the opportunity to sit down with us and really hash out what their plans are. And as Carrie Collins said earlier, you know, we are not a historic district. We are not an HOA madness kind of group. What we are here to do is really work with the businesses to encourage them to choose a palette that will work in our city and our community. And they have been more than gracious and more than accommodating in working with anything that we suggest, even up to the point of saying, here are our color swatches for awnings and things like that. When we're ready to put these together, if you don't mind coming down and seeing if this color works with this building versus on the side. So everyone in this room is very cooperative, just
Yeah.
so that council knows that.
Just to clarify this, we are addressing item number 14 of the CRA grant submission, which basically requires the signing off by the Heritage Commission.
Correct, and I
Yeah.
have filled out all the paperwork
Yeah.
for each one of these, and we have signed off
Yeah.
as,
And generally speaking, the design guidelines are totally voluntary, but under this circumstance, since it's a condition
well,
of
it's
the
a
grant.
condition for the grant.
Exactly,
Right,
that's what I wanted to clarify.
right. Aware.
And
Thank
so,
you.
will there be unique facades for each business?
Yes.
Okay.
So the general idea here is that the front of the buildings will get some work, but the majority of the work is gonna be on kind of the alley side, if you will. Because if you think about it, a lot of the businesses park back there, and their customers park back there, and it's really blight. There's no other way to describe this. It's awful. And there's no lighting, there's dirt. And so painting the backs, putting awnings up on the backs, taking the, air conditioning units and kind of hiding them a little bit. All of those things will enhance our downtown core. And so with that said, do you want me to start with the first one?
Sure.
Okay. 189 South Lawrence, this would be the attorney at law office. They want to add solar lights, replace the front awning due to its age. It has dry rot and it's 13 years old. Add a new back door and a new awning on the back side of the property. Paint the rear of the building. Replace the door trim on the rear. Add a park bench that would be for employees and customers. And the cost of the bench would be shared with Nutrition Retreat, which is next door. So there are a few items there because of the nature of the business. They're kind of connected, so they would be co-sharing it. So they want to paint, do signage, lighting, awnings, and the doors. And their color palette, and here's why I went to Ace Hardware, because this does not look like this.
True.
So when I saw this on my screen, it came up pink, and I knew that was not the intention. And so when I printed it, then I had a whole different color scheme. And so when I went to Ace, a third color scheme. This is the accurate color. So they're going to do a variety of these colorways on the different buildings. And the intention here was to give each, and correct me if I am saying this correct, just watch my words, basically. Karen really wanted to be able to differentiate each business so that someone's coming to, say, the Nutrition Retreat could say, hey, it's the green on it, or, that kind of thing. So that was the intention there. Heritage voted on that, and we approved the grant application for that business. So we're coming to you with approval on that, so it's up to you. Did you have any questions on that one?
Any other questions? Nope. So the next business would be,
Healthy living, which is really very similar to the one we just talked about with the same color scheme. She also brought to me swatches of different awnings, which are very historic. And so we will be working with some of these colors based on the color of the paint, so how they match with each of the awnings. And again, the owner is very open to how that's put together.
And the guidelines do address awnings. I think the only prohibition is against, I think they call them balloon awnings or something like that look puffy. But you might want to take a look at the old Mallard's building to get a clue as to.
Well, they're kind of probably replace the awning similar to what's there now, correct?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Similar to what's
And
there
that's
now.
okay.
Okay. This is 110. Okay, the next one is Plies, is it? Hometown Health and Wellness. Again, a lot of the work would be done on the rear side of the property because of blight, the one on Nightingale similarly. So you can see by the pictures, and they will be painting it in the same color wheel. So everything will be very similar. So your eye coming down Lawrence, you'll have awnings on this side, you'll have awnings on the other side. So we approve.
okay. And then, let's go ahead and, the Keystone Barbershop is,
Barbershop, they want to do lighting, paint, awnings, a door, trim work, replace the front awning cover, paint the side of the building, pressure wash, the back trim, decorative fencing around the AC unit, similar to the
Similar.
other properties. And again, the same color scheme within that palette. And our recommendation from the Heritage Commission was to approve.
okay. Any questions of Ms. Murphy for this block of businesses? Is there a motion?
There's one more, Clyde's Cafe.
Oh, I'm sorry, hang on a minute. Clyde's Cafe, do you want to ask your
Clyde's
question
Cafe.
now?
Go ahead.
Tony, wait,
Go ahead.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, did Tony have a?
He has a
I'll wait.
question, but he
Wait.
says he'll
Okay.
wait.
Clyde's Cafe is kind of on the corner. So one side they have a black awning. On the front, they have a different color awning. I think we're gonna be changing that, I think, correct? So that they match. Also, they wanna do lining, awnings, and pressure washing. Replacement of the wings on the back and side of the building. And the same color wheel,
Okay,
and the Heritage Commission approved that building. So now we're covered the entire block.
okay. So we have the Owens Law Firm, Healthy Living, Nutrition Retreat, Hometown Health and Wellness, Clyde's Cafe, Keystone Barbershop as one block building. Is there oh, go ahead and ask your question.
My question is, we're looking at spending some money here, and we're going to do all this beautification, and unfortunately, you got to do this in front of everybody, but something has rubbed me for years is there's a dumpster right at the corner of Beam and Nightingale. So is there any way of getting that closed in within this, or is that going to be something
Are
different?
you asking the property owner?
I'm just saying, is this going to,
Because I'm not the person you would ask.
all right. I don't know if this is the place to ask that question, but
That's
if we're going to
something-
spend this kind of money, we need, if we're going to clean it up and make it look good, that's an eyesore.
So the dumpster enclosures, I do not believe were a part of the facade grant. That's something that we can look into and I can discuss with the property owner as well as waste management as far as proper pickup and how their machines need to move. And then also you're talking sightline and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different mechanics, but I can work with the property owner on
Okay,
that.
all right.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Also move that we approve these as a block.
Okay, and there was a second from Mr. Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And then we're down to village doctors.
Village doctors, Ellen Sykes, she wants to do painting, awnings, and landscape. And I thought, when I first saw this, there are no awnings there, that's a roof. So it's a metal roof, they want to change the roof out. It's gonna be similar because it does have an awning look. That's probably why they checked this box off. Unfortunately, roof colors don't come in historic colors, but they're going to go with a green that looks like a sagey green, and then match the trim to the building, which is similar to what it is now and also similar to the locker room. So those two visually, like right on the same side of the road, would
Blend.
blend, I think, and look nice. And then they wanted to do some landscaping, which would be wonderful. And they do have a description of all the landscaping and what they had intention as far as, you know, the names of the flowers. But just for your knowledge, the proposed roof color would be this green.
Yes, please.
We won't bite.
It's kind of an emerald green.
No,
This
it's
is
more of
emerald
an
green
earthy,
and evergreen.
Evergreen.
So this is kind of a sagey,
earthy.
yeah. So I'm thinking it's good.
It's an earth tone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a roof, so they don't have any heritage colors. And then, for their paint trim, it's Benjamin Moore's, Heritage Color Series, Cushing Green, there. And then their exterior wall color, which is Valspar, it is not a heritage color, but it's Cream Delight. And as you can see, the color came out so well. But I looked this one up as well, and it's kind of a creamy white.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything negative that you could say about any of that. Again, yes, the money is tied to the approval, but overall, I think the intention is that we beautify the city.
Yes.
So there we are.
Is there any questions about the village doctors?
Well, with the new roof,
building?
you're going to have some architectural changes, but is this an historic structure?
The village doctors,
Yeah.
anything will be an improvement.
Okay,
I agree.
okay.
Just saying.
Are there any questions? Is there a motion? Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
I know you guys are doing the legwork, and we appreciate that from the Heritage Commission. And I can't wait to see the new colors. That's exciting for us. This was part of an overall streetscape plan that we've been working on for the last couple of years, and so it's really nice to see some of these things come up and being able to get done. Is there anything else before we go to the order for the Community Redevelopment Agency?